We'll dwell on what Mother Sri Aurobindo says about true happiness. In one of the talks I heard, I think in Alok's talk, he mentions the first thing that we get being Mother and Sri Aurobindo's child is that causeless happiness, that simple joy, that genuine happiness that we have found them. And they've been calling us ages after ages, and now we turn really to them. We have found our lost home. We are in their eternal lap of love and delight. If most of you here have been to Pondicherry, you would see that many people there, they have a very fixed routine, working in departments, going to dining room, going to their sports. And I always used to think it's such a fixed routine, like there's some kind of monotony, and what is it that is carrying them? Then you realize it's that deep joy and love for the mother that they have, they hold. And in all these things which happen by the clock, they just do it with that joy and happiness, just breathing their divine presence every time. I'm reminded a few years ago, there was a terrible cyclone in Pondicherry, and everything has come to a standstill. But sincerely, the dining room workers, as usual, they get up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Whatever the weather, whatever the condition, they're on their cycle and they're going and doing their duty. And every other place, people are struggling, they're not getting their basic food and everything. But ashram opened its doors to everybody who needed that nourishment, both in terms of the physical and that inner nourishment. Why are they doing all this? Just that joy and just to be happy to serve, just to be happy to be at their feet. Sri Aurobindo says, after all, what are we? We are an eternal child playing an eternal game in the eternal garden. An eternal child playing an eternal game in the eternal garden. We get troubled, tormented by so many things, small, big, whatsoever, but we never realize behind it all, it's just a play. It's the divine wearing so many masks and playing with us, the Krishna's Leela which is happening, and we are the Gopikas. Whatever is going through, we are just dancing around Krishna. So Mother says, happiness is a condition of gladness, a sense of inner ease and welfare, contentment, a sunlit life. It is more quiet in its nature than joy and delight. I am using these words very synonymously, but Mother is clearly saying happiness is a condition of gladness, an inner sense of ease and welfare, contentment, a sunlit life, sunlit life. It is more quiet in nature than joy and delight. Once somebody asked the mother, and he pointed out to one person, said she always has a very not so cheerful expression. She's always gloomy. I don't think she's happy. Mother said, you don't know how happy is she inside. I find that deep happiness. Yes, maybe on the facade it seems like that, but I know like her soul is enjoying this experience. She's in the deepest place of happiness. So she again says that inner gladness and happiness is something peaceful and happy at once. It is not excited. It is not an excited movement like the vital outward pleasure, though it can be more ardent and intense. Intense inner gladness and happiness is something peaceful and happy at once. It is not an excited movement. Many of us would have realized, especially during our birthdays, we have such a, I don't want to say joy, delight, but we just feel like everything is speaking to us. There's so much of that inner gladness. We can't express it in words. You feel like you're walking on clouds, and you feel literally, because on that day we are so receptive to the mother, we feel everything she's planned out for us. Whenever I do go for my birthdays, I make sure I be part of every ashram activity. Even if it happens to be a Saturday, I'm sitting through that movie like, yes mother, you have decided to show me this movie on my birthday. I am going to take the rasa of it and just be there in your lap. So that's that inner joy, inner peace, which we cannot give many reasons to. To the outer world, they will not understand. Our own family circle may not understand that celebrating a birthday would be like at 12 o'clock, having a very jarring affair at home, like cake and a lot of things. So maybe you have so much of energy because on that day mother is giving us that much of energy, but we just spill it out. We do things which are very exhausting, and we can use the same beautiful luminous energy to turn inward, to remember, and how much they pour, which they pour every other day, every second. It's just that we have to open the door wider and wider and wider. Mother says somewhere, the psychic presence, the light is always there. You just need to open that door. And then she's spoken about, meditations, how we find the psychic. She's given us a lot of visualizations. She says there's this door in front of you. Your aspiration, your just that need to go across the other side of the door should be so strong, so one-pointed. Like you can visualize her on 29th February 1956 with that golden hammer, one strike, and the golden light fills the earth atmosphere. So for that, the need to search our psychic should be like that, to be in that psychic's beautiful, peaceful inner state. Just need to open a little bit. In Savitri, there's a line somewhere she may not be saying the exact words. Even if the door is little ajar, the divine splendor is going to pour in. A little ajar. It's not even telling open it big, wide, do this 10 steps, then only the door will open. Nothing. And they've given us so many beautiful ways, just by remembering them, just by taking their name, just by turning in, just being present to our heart, just by slowly, quietly reverberating their name inside. Easily we can open that door a little ajar and make them fill us. In one place, MP Pandit ji, he is in the midst of some relationship problems amongst his work. He was secretary to the mother, and he goes to the mother and says, "Mother, how do I deal with so much of politics? Just tell me, give me a way, and how can I not let that affect me, and how can I always be with you?" Mother simply gives like a short answer. She says, "Whatever is happening, melt it by love. Melt it by love." This I heard recently in Shraddhaluji's talk, and he actually said that love, you don't need to point it towards the troubled person. It's like, okay, this person is irritating me. I'll send all the love to him. Like, I'll try and be conscious, and I'll try to not get the venom of the whole situation, but I'll replace that with love and beauty and everything else. But he says you are love. You don't need to make that effort or anything. You spread that love generally in anything and everything you're doing. That person also gets into that ambit of that love. It was so beautiful for me. Like, it was really like a thunderbolt. Just be love. And he gave such a beautiful practice. He said, in the night when you sleep, you just remember, I want to spread love, mother. I want to be the love. And I think to MP Pandit ji only she told me. In fact, she told him, oh beautiful slave of God, or something in Savitri, when she was explaining that line. Like, you are my true slave of love, or something like that. I am giving that love. You are embodying my love, and you will be spreading it to everybody. It is not your individual MP Pandit ji spreading love. It's the mother's love, my love you are going to spread, and I'm giving you that boon. Something like that. So if we can have this tiny aspiration, and before we sleep or whenever we are getting aware of it, just let me be that love. If you have that true love, right, happiness, the inner peace, that gladness, the psychic presence, it will just come automatically, because we are all so inwardly that it's just that so many veils and curtains are there, our vital desires, the physical sensations or whatnot. You just have to break open through this beautiful movement of love. And also, this love can be again directed towards anything. Sometimes, like I was saying, you will find people who are troubling you, and again mother says somewhere, you feel you're troubled, it's because they are like a mirror for you. So many things which are hiding in you, and you are struggling with them, you're finding it out in the outer world, in the outer nature of everybody else. So first you have to always look within. If you're not happy, say in a particular job or a particular department or a particular home, it's not the home, the department, the work, the job, or whatever you're doing. It is all inside. When people used to go ask the mother, it's very tough, I cannot work here, and every day it's a little torture for me to face these people. So she'd be like, nothing, even if you change departments, it is your nature that you have to work on. It is that true happiness that you have to find. Just changing places, changing home, changing your work, that will not work. So this love, like if it's difficult to find the general love and embrace everything by love, we can still find our own little ways. We can target it to say loving nature, loving plants. In the COVID time, I think many people started getting a pet at home. They were wound up in a similar routine every day. They thought getting a pet would add that liveliness and something like that. So if you can simply, some people when they are very alone, they don't have a companion, or just the life is such, they live alone, they get a pet, and they pour all the love they have, and they can receive also from them so much. This movement of love can give that beautiful sense of happiness. And then mother, she says there are two categories, like ordinary superficial happiness, and she says, like we have already spoken a little before, ordinary happiness is of vital origin. It is impure and it depends on circumstances. So the happiness is, say, only when I get this promotion I'm going to be happy. Only when I do a world tour I'll be happy. Only when I climb Mount Everest I'll be happy. Like so many fanciful things. When I get this best car I'm going to be happy. It's also circumstantial. You're missing out the little joys of the day-to-day things, but you have this big the desire looming over you, and you feel only when you get that you'll be happy. So that is a very ordinary happiness. Even when you do get it, for how long will that intensity of happiness remain with you? The very next day or 1 or 2 weeks down the line, it's going to fade, or again after some other big thing. So this all depends so much on circumstances. Then she said, this is spiritual, inner, divine, real, true happiness. The goal of life is not to secure personal happiness, but to awaken the individual progressively towards the truth consciousness. So our goal is not to chase behind the personal happiness. Our Divine Mother, even she makes sure our physical, everything else is taken care of us. But we don't need to cling to that alone. But the true happiness lies in progressing towards the truth consciousness, to what Mother and Sri Aurobindo have brought down to us. The transformation of this mold, which is still in the mud and mire, bring that life divine on earth, make everything divinized by their touch. And then she categorizes, saying there is physical happiness, vital happiness, and mental happiness. So in physical happiness, she says the body would want a few things. It's very natural. Health, strength, physical perfection, bodily happiness, liberation from disease, suffering. These demands are not in them unacceptable, mean or illegitimate, for they render into the terms of matter the perfection of form and substance. When we are still looking for bodily comforts, health, no disease, no suffering, we shouldn't, give them a small place. But yes, in some way the body is also aspiring. It wants to transform matter, and it wants to be that perfect form and perfect substance. And then she says the vital happiness. Again, the vital likes a lot of drama, emotions, melodrama all the time. And it's never satisfied, especially the lower vital. And when the same vital gets transformed and it wants to serve the divine with that same energy, it was chasing after desires, material things, not so important things for its growth towards the divine life. That's the consecrated vital, like the vital of Hanuman. All he wanted to do was serve Rama. And he didn't even know he had so many capacities. He could move mountains, he could cross rivers, he had so much of strength, he could bring down the whole Lanka. So basically he was so humble, he didn't know how much his vital is consecrated, and easily just think of it, just whatever the Lord wants him, he was able to do. And then she keeps repeatedly saying that vital is full of expectations, desires. Once Mother says when she was in Paris, she doesn't specifically say she's talking about herself, it gets clarified somehow, but she would say this person had this experience, but it's her own experience she's talking about. So when she was in Paris, she was watching this play, and there was this person behind her who was not able to see the screen so well, and he seemed little short, and Mother was much taller, and her mother's head was blocking this person's view. So Mother, she knew this is happening. Entire play she just ducked down and making sure this guy had a beautiful view of the program. Then later she said the joy of letting go of the desire. The desire would be, I've come for the play, I have to watch it, I have to see all the nuances and appreciate the beauty and everything. But she had, to an extent, physically maybe an uncomfortable experience. But she said the joy and happiness was letting go of the desire and making that person enjoy the play. So beautiful. So we can only get a drop of these things, and when Buddha has repeatedly said, right, joy is in conquering the desires rather than being a slave of your desires. And Mother says here, it is only those who have come for sadhana and really do sadhana can be happy and satisfied here. The others have constant trouble because their desires are not satisfied. It is only those who have come for sadhana and really do sadhana can be happy and satisfied here. The others have constant trouble because their desires are not satisfied. So even when you say, okay, you're giving your life to the divine, you want to be connected to the ashram, you want to be connected to a center or anything like that. But if you have the same idea of what you otherwise lived in the outside world of fame, ego, having a position, wanting everybody to please you and things like that, you're still holding on to desires. For me, for a very long time, actually, I would think desires is only the material things. So to an extent, I would say, no, I'm not really running after material things. Whatever comes, and this is then like all these nuances of desire that came. Any little thing, like your emotion or anything, can also be a desire. In any small situation, also you having to have the upper hand. But if the situation requires, and if there's this true self-giving, and this has to be done, and you're doing with that magnanimity and the love, and you just want this physical body to serve, that is again a different issue. So she says you have to be focused on the sadhana. Only people who are doing the sadhana and always want to progress and have this deep aspiration of transforming their nature, of giving themselves, of making that surrender. She says somewhere, give till it pinches. In our society circles we hear this a lot. Give till it pinches. And it's also a common joke that when you come and say, Mother, do what you want with me, she takes that very seriously also. She will literally take your choti, they say, and your choti is in her hand, and she makes you move around, do things. So yes, and that is also such a joyful thing, right? Talking about the choti, I remember this incident. Amrita Da, he came from a very orthodox Brahmin family. He used to have like a small choti, like they had the custom of not cutting the hair and everything, a typical Brahmin and all of that. And once Sri Aurobindo told Nalini Da somebody in the night, why don't you just chop this choti? Then it did work, like after all Sri Aurobindo was told, and he went ahead and did it. Then this person got up and he was like, oh my God, what has happened? It's blasphemy, it's against my religion, and what if my dad comes now and he'll be like, he can't recognize his son. And it so happened his dad came. And they had got a proposal for him, had already fixed with the girl's family and everything, like this is the person you have to marry and enough of this ashram and all for you. Then seeing him, the dad said, oh my God, I told him my son is a devout Brahmin and he does all the sanskaras properly, and how can I even show my face to them now? So it was a way of the divine working, so that this had to be in a way stopped. So it was so much humor, joy and love in the ashram atmosphere. I'm actually reading 12 years with Sri Aurobindo, maybe the third or fourth reading. Every time I read, I was just telling this Srinivas, and he was telling me, yes, we feel like we are a little Archana or little Srinivas in Sri Aurobindo's room, sitting on Nirodharan's shoulder, and just you're in that room. You're just filled. So beautiful. Today I was reading something. Sri Aurobindo gives an example of in one of the wars, Boer War. I don't know so much like what exactly that war was. So two people were being chased by his enemy army. They were both on one horse. one fellow somehow fell off the horse, and he was like praying, God, please help me jump over this horse. And he tried his best to jump, but he jumped too far. He crossed the horse and jumped on the other side. Then he said, God, you helped me a little too much. So it was so beautiful how Sri Aurobindo used to bring so much humor and lightness in spite of going through that pain. And Sri Aurobindo, Nirodbaran says there was this doctor called Manilal ji. Basically, he was a more experienced elderly doctor, and he was there when the accident happened, and he was entirely monitoring Sri Aurobindo, obviously with the assistance of 2-3 others, but the knowledge, the medical knowledge and everything, he was much better. So when he had to leave, Nirodbaranda was the next in level, and all medical decisions on Sri Aurobindo and just looking after any immediate pain and everything, he had to take care. So then he says, what was I telling? Then suddenly in middle of the night one day, Sri Aurobindo wants the doctor to come, and he says there's a little pain. And Nirodbaran said he wouldn't call me in the middle of the night and say there's a little gnawing pain. That pain must be really, really deep, and we know he is the person who's transforming death and pain and everything else for us. For him, pain is like the true ananda of bliss. Yes, like he's come into the human body and he's facing all the challenges so that we don't face that many challenges. And Nirodbaran makes this statement. He says, I'm sure that pain wouldn't have been little for the God to call him. He was such a gentlemanly, and he will bear so much. There must be a little more annoying pain for him to do. And he adjusted some sling and everything, and then he said, yes, it's perfect, I'm good, thank you. Basically, he poured so much love to the people around him. And even if a fan had to be switched on, and Sri Aurobindo, when he lifts his finger, like 100 hands, 100 bodies would want and come and serve and be with him, and he would say, I think it would be nice if the fan is switched on or something like that. He can just say, Nirod, switch on the fan, Champak, switch on this, make my bed straight, keep this here, keep this there. He wouldn't say that. I wish, or I think the fan can be switched on to that extent. So beautiful. Yeah, I went a little here and there, but so yes, Mother says that we have to be really in the sadhana and not get carried away by the desires. And human vital is full of its fancies and all that. And she says a very interesting thing. She says, she tells about some situations where you can be happy, but otherwise you think in this situation, how can you find happiness? So she's saying, one can be perfectly happy when someone or some circumstance puts you in the conscious present of a fault in yourself. Whenever you do find a fault in yourself, you are thinking, oh my God, what those 10 other people are going to think, and also you try to cover it through some excuses, some judgments, and so the ego is going to play its own role or something. So when you find a fault in yourself, like you should feel good, I discovered this fault. It's a great opportunity to bring this up to the light, to bring it to Mother's love, to let her eyes fall on this fault. Even then you should be so happy that yes, there is something hiding inside me, so somewhere deep down, and it was making a little fuss and a lot of adamancy. But now there's an opportunity for it to be taken to its truer form. So we spoke a little bit of the vital happiness, and then a bit of physical, and now mind, the happiness in the mind. So Mother says, the thought plays a very, very important role. She says, even if you can think, yes, this circumstance will make me happy, will put me in that joyous state. I can do it with that equanimity. I can see the divine's face in everything. So Sri Aurobindo says that in every situation, even the enemy's face, I could see Krishna's smile. So if you see that, if you just have this thought, a little thought, okay, this event will make me happy. That one formation, that suggestion is enough. Maybe you feel little awkward, maybe your nature is such, it's very happy in its comfort zone, and once you have to go a little away from it, and if you just can bring this thought, that's also mother's work. There also I can be happy. There also you can fill it with her presence. Like only her protection, her love, the envelope around you matters. And she is the one carrying you from place to place, right? So she's giving us so many beautiful techniques to just help us be on this joyful ride with the divine. And mother says, right, in the supramental ship which she had a vision of, she saw so many people, and she said that ship is the bridge between this world and another world. It's like a training ground. It is shaping people into their supramental element, and people are getting prepared there to take that new form. And so we are there, we are all in that ship getting transformed. And there she would say what people thought, felt, accordingly the body is taking a particular hue. If they are more turned to the light, the body is reflecting that. And she was also saying some of them, they have to go through more training, because the body in few places it's not so transparent to the light, so they have gray patches, so they are put into more training, more preparation. So after all, who is doing that? It is the mother. So it's beautiful. If you can think of a little child and a physical mother, it's gone to some marshy, muddy place, it's enjoyed its time, and it's coming home full of dirt and grime. It's so difficult to clean such a little boy like that. But the mother gently takes him, cleans him up, scrubs him. But now we are all being cleansed, purified with so much of love by the Divine Mother herself. So we are all on her ship. And in some poem, Sri Aurobindo says, I think it's in this poem, to R on her birthday, somewhere he says, the captain never sleeps. He's holding the rudder. So when the Divine Mother and Sri Aurobindo are the captain holding us, where is the reason to have any doubt, confusion, unhappiness or anything? And again, the last, that supreme level of happiness is the source of it all, is the psychic. Your psychic is in constant happiness. In the psychic is the source of constant happiness. The psychic, the deepest part in us, the mother herself inside us, that psychic element. The true deep feelings are always satisfied and never ask for anything. When you are in that state, it's so natural that the deepest, truest feelings are always satisfied and they never ask for anything. The psychic feels my constant presence, is aware of my love and solicitude, and is always peaceful, happy and satisfied. The psychic feels my constant presence, is aware of my love and solicitude, and is always peaceful, happy and satisfied. Like a true child, just enjoying, being so much filled with gratitude. Yes, the Divine Mother is watching. We are with her. She is the doer. She is carrying us from Sri Aurobindo says, Savitri said, being carried from a joy to joy. Just being lifted happily from joy to joy. And I'm reminded about the photo, like when mother, she sees little babies in the ashram, people used to bring her to her. There's this one picture, it's like mother who is holding that baby and her expression, my God, like all the joy and happiness in the world, like for her, for that baby. And the baby also knows it's its true mother, right, in a way. There was an incident, one person, he was experimenting with animals in the ashram. He happened to get an orangutan. So he also trained it a little, had made it do little tasks in his house, and he said, okay, today I'm going to show this orangutan to the mother. Its name was Thor or something. Then the orangutan immediately, in a very natural way, bows down to the mother, does a namaste, and it goes and sits on mother's lap. So like, sorry, I know I'm your child. I found you, like that. So beautiful, and she's everybody's child, everybody's mother. And one more incident I've told here on one occasion, when a snake, when mother used to go for her drive with Pavitra Da, and they used to stop somewhere. So snake would come, and one snake came in one instance, and mother said, don't shoo it away, let it be. I am also its mother. So her love for all is always there. And I was collecting quotes for this. I found few quotes and I titled this Assurances of the Mother. So she says, the best way to express one's gratitude to the divine is to simply be happy. The best way to express one's gratitude to the divine is to simply be happy. There was a ashramite called Dara. His previous birth was Dara, Aurangzeb's brother, and in this birth he was connected with the Nizam's family in Hyderabad, I think. So when he asked the mother, give me some work, what do I do? Everybody is working different departments, they have different skills, give me something. So mother said, simply be happy. Then Dara said, oh, so simple, so great, I'll try to do that. After 3-4 days he realized that's very, very, very tough. How can I do this with full justice? How can I simply be happy? So we are always innately, simply happy, like that person I said. She's always full of joy, but it's just not always shown on the face. So simply she told him, be happy, simply be happy. Then she says, be simple, be happy, remain quiet, do your work as well as you can, keep yourself always open towards me. That is all that is asked from you. Be simple, be happy, remain quiet, do your work as well as you can, keep yourself always open towards me. That is all that is asked from you. That is all that is asked from you. Someplace somebody asked the mother, what can we do for you, mother? She just gives a one-word reply, nothing, nothing. Then he asked the next question, what are you doing for us? What do you do for us? Again one word, everything. Do your work as well as you can. Keep yourself always open towards me. That is all that is asked from you. Try to be happy. Immediately you will be closer to the light. Try to be happy. Immediately you will be closer to the light. even when we get into the rut of activities, one thing after another. Recently, I think Ramakrishna shared with us, he said, when I feel, no, I'm not remembering the mother too much, not calling her enough, not offering, and I know I'm getting carried away by people, things, work, everything, I just take 1 or 2 moments of a pause. Then I call her, deeply I call her. Maybe the mother's consciousness is there in the background, which is always there. For few moments, I connect to that and get it to the foreground. So if we can just do that, try to be always closer to the light, then you are always happy. Happiness also is like a state of surrender, right? Like the baby cat she talks about. Basically, it has no care, knows that the mother is doing everything, carrying it from one place to another. All it has to do is say ma, 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 ma. Alokda funnily will say, the cow knows integral yoga very well. Opens its mouth, ma, 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 ma. So beautiful. From Synthesis of Yoga, I'll read a few lines what Sri Aurobindo says. Like the 4 things that one must have. First, equality in the most concrete, practical sense of the word, samatha. Equality, samatha. Freedom from mental, vital, physical preferences, and even acceptance of all God's working within and around him. And even acceptance of all God's working within and around him. Secondly, a firm peace and absence of all disturbance and trouble. A firm peace and absence of all disturbance and trouble. Shanti. Shanti. Thirdly, a positive inner spiritual happiness. A positive inner spiritual happiness and spiritual ease of the natural being which nothing can lessen. A positive inner spiritual happiness and spiritual ease of the natural being which nothing can lessen. Sukham. Fourthly, a clear joy and laughter of the soul, embracing life and existence. A clear joy and laughter of the soul, embracing life and existence. Samatha, Shanti, Sukham. Laughter of the soul, embracing life and existence. Many of you have seen some pictures, the mother laughing, right? So beautiful to see that all your little troubles get melted in that smile, that laughter of the mother. All suffering is lost in her smile, or something like that. There's a line in Savitri. I'll read one more thing here, which is very relevant. Certainly, there is a moment in the course of the inner growth when, far from having to make an effort to concentrate, to become absorbed in the contemplation and the seeking of the truth and its best expression, what the Buddhists call meditation. There is a moment in the course of the inner growth when, far from having to make an effort to concentrate, to just become absorbed in the contemplation and the seeking of the truth. Just become absorbed in the contemplation and the seeking of the truth and its best expression, what the Buddhists call meditation. You feel, on the contrary, a kind of relief, ease, rest, joy, and have to come out of that in order to deal with things that are not essential. Everything that may seem like a waste of time becomes terribly painful. External activities get reduced to what is absolutely necessary, to that, to those that are done as service to the divine. All that is futile, useless, precisely those things which seem like a waste of time and effort, all that, far from giving the least satisfaction, creates a kind of discomfort and fatigue. You feel happy only when you are concentrated on your goal. All that is futile, useless, precisely things which seem like a waste of time and effort, all that, far from giving the least satisfaction, creates a kind of discomfort and fatigue. You feel happy only when you are concentrated on your goal. But we have to come out of this stage. Mother also says, all doing the small, simple, mundane activities, you can pour yourself into it. Do it from that space of the truest consciousness. When here there's a divide, right? Yeah, you're in the joyful state of always contemplating, seeking for the truth, being in the light. You're still in that cocoon, but you have to get that same bliss state in everything else. Even if there are situations, like say we are running a center, we have to deal with some government people, some rowdies or whatever it is, to get some work going, to get things moving, right? It's all the mother's work, but we can just bring that state to that, just that flow in that stream of joy and beauty and delight in every circumstance. It should be an aspiration, and we should really pray that we all get there someday. One more beautiful thing Mother often says, just live in that state of vastness, direction and purpose. Basically, I had this question long back. It's like I feel this inertia, a lot of laziness, and I'm doing one thing. To get to the next thing, there's a little bit of inertia, too much effort to pull myself out of it. And somebody told me, then think of the purpose. Just bring that purpose in front of you. Do like the next thing you have to do. Why are you doing? It's for the mother. If you want to nourish the body, why are you nourishing it? It's for the mother, so that this body can do something for her. It's like the little squirrel, it puts a little mud and says that it's it's trying to get their arms say to build. So mother doesn't really need any of us. She can get things done through dolphins or elephants or whatever she wants. But it's just that delight that we are getting just being with her. So it's just when you're vast and you have this purpose and you move away out of your ego shell, out of this persona of whoever you are. Just move away. And like most of the time when depressions are because it's so much focus on I am depressed, I am not getting this, I need that, I am here, I am not there or whatnot. It's so that I. If you can just get out of that and just be in that vastness, that giving state, and always have Mother Sri Aurobindo in your consciousness, that is really, really beautiful. So she says, when you have this happiness, what are the signs? So she says, when there is peace, happiness, strength, lightness in the whole physical system. So it's an obvious and normal results that their consciousness is growing towards the divine. Then she's saying about how important it is to get in touch with your psychic, which knows so clearly that it's a child of the divine, it is a portion of the divine, the Angushtamatra Purusha is seated in our hearts. Just touch it, that's all. Just touch that fire and you will become that fire of that psychic presence. So Mother gives such a beautiful way of opening to the psychic. She says, meditate. When you meditate, you open to the psychic. Become aware of your psychic consciousness deep within and feel these things in order that this ease and peace and happiness may become strong and stable and felt in all the being and in the body. You have to go still deeper within and bring out the full force of the psychic into the physical. So she says, when you feel that peace, happiness, let them get strong, let them get stabilized. You still need to go deeper within. Find that full force of the psychic. All that you're feeling, this peace, this inner gladness and everything is still just a fringe of the psychic. You have to still go much deeper to play with that full force of the psychic presence. This can most easily be done by regular concentration and meditation with the aspiration for this true consciousness. It can be done by work also. So many methods she's saying. It can be done by work also, by dedication, by doing the work for the divine only, without thought of self, and keeping the idea of consecration to the Mother always at the heart. So simple. Like the work again doesn't really mean it's great that all of you work at the center and all, but yes, you are a little representative of the Mother wherever you are going, right? So if you can do that work with full dedication and without a thought about the self and keeping the idea of always consecrating to the Mother, consecration to the Mother always in the heart. Simple statement she's telling us. So we can all keep it as a practice, and many of us are already doing it. Just spend 30-40 minutes a day or more just connecting to the deepest part of the heart, calling the Mother. Let the full work of the psychic take hold of us. Others say these beautiful things. Let us seek our happiness only in the divine, not other people, other forms. They will not give you the happiness. The true nectar lies only in the divine. Do not live to be happy, live to serve the divine, and happiness you enjoy will exceed all expectation. Do not live to be happy, live to serve the divine, and the happiness you enjoy will exceed all expectation. When the divine grants the true inner happiness, nothing in the world has the power to snatch it away. When the divine grants the true inner happiness, nothing in the world has the power to snatch it away. I'll just read few lines of Savitri before we close. Mother says, in Savitri it said, happiest who stand on faith as on a rock. There she categorizes, Sri Aurobindo talks about three kinds of people. Okay, they are happy if they have found one seed of certitude that yes, the divine exists. They are little more happy if they follow some kind of sadhana moving towards the light. And then he says, happiest are those who stand on faith as on a rock. And another set of lines. The days become a happy pilgrim march, our will a force of the eternal's power, and thought the rays of a spiritual sun. A few shall see what none yet understands. God shall grow up while the wise men talk and sleep. When this line was read out, Mother said, after the phrase, God shall grow up, she said, yes, God shall grow up in matter. In matter, she's saying when she was explaining to the sadhana. God shall grow up while the wise men talk and sleep. For man shall not know the coming till its hour, and belief shall be not till the work is done. The days become a happy pilgrim march. All life is a pilgrimage. Every step is a pilgrimage. Walking to that deepest, innermost shrine which is there everywhere actually. Next set. Only to be was a supreme delight. Life was a happy laughter of the soul, and joy was king with love for minister. Only to be was a supreme delight. Mother says, simply be. Be quiet, be simply happy, just give. Know that I am always there. Next set of lines. She accepts the limiting circle of his arms, bows full of bliss beneath his mastering hands, and laughs in his rich constraints, most bound, most free. She accepts the limiting circle of his arms. Just visualize this. You are in the arms of Sri Krishna. You are completely given yourself. You are locked in his arms. You bow full of bliss beneath his mastering touch. His hands are touching you, the Master's touch, the divine touch, the Lord's touch. Mother Sri Aurobindo embracing you. You are most bound, locked, cannot move out of that arms. It is always there. And you laugh in his rich constraints, most bound, most free. Even in it's binding you, you are most free.